Good evening and welcome to the September 17th, 2024 City Council meeting. I am calling this meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. Thank you all for joining us. Let's get started with our invocation and our pledge allegiance to the flag that will be led by our City Attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We pray that our work this evening will find favor in your sight. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Greatly appreciated. We're going to get started with our Oldsmar open forum. At this time, this is a time for citizens to be heard and not meant to answer any specific questions. If you would like a member of city staff to follow up on a comment or question made at the meeting, please fill out one of our comment cards at the back table with your contact information, and please give it to our city clerk. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation or comment on any subject that is not scheduled for a public hearing. When speaking, please state your name and your address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30, and we have Tom. Tom, you want to come up?
Tom O'Shea, 28 Lake Charles Court. I just want to thank Vice Mayor Graber for what he said at the council comments last meeting. And I just want to say that I've been to a lot of the meetings pertaining to downtown and the forums and the community involvement. And it seemed to me that we all wanted a mixed development, including shops. In order to have shops that are successful, we would need the people living near there. So if that involves having a density closer to what is the maximum of what the code allows, and I think that's what we need to do instead of like minimal number of people. We need, if we want the shops to be successful, we need the people living down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to be heard at the city to the city council? Anyone? Jerry, come on up.
I know some doesn't want me up here. I'm up here anyway. Jerry Beav, 512 Pine Avenue South. And I don't want any credit where I don't deserve any credit. At the last council meeting, it was kind of indicated that I started the density down here next to City Hall, and I didn't start the density down here at City Hall. What we were concerned about was the size of the project, the determination of the project. We very seldom talked about density. And once it was over with, if I told you, and you can check the record, I finally got disgusted with it, with the whole apparatus, because it was over our heads. I won't say it's over y'all's head, but it was over my head. I said, put it into a park. And that way we don't have to worry about it anymore, okay? But it was indicated that as mayor, I passed out something, but what we talked about was, and you remember this, we talked about the size of it and the body of it, because none of us really understood what it was all about. Oldsmar had never had a project that big on that big a land, so don't give me credit for it. I did not set the density. We may have back then at some point, I don't know. But we never discussed density at all. And I never speak from notes. I never have, but I got notes because I forget them. I got 2 signs in my yard. If somebody from the city will please come by and pick up those 2 signs, I'd really appreciate it. I picked them up after looking at them on the side of the road for 3 months. 3 months. And one of them was on St. Petersburg Drive. Huge thing. As an old man, I had trouble picking the thing up. Watch what words you use. Okay. I finally got it in my car. The other sign I picked up was on Shore Drive. It had been out there for 3 months next to the Shore Drive on the corner of somebody's property. I can understand why they didn't pick it up, because their place looks like a dump, okay? So if somebody will drive by my house, they can pick up those two signs that y'all are missing, or somebody's missing them. Are you gonna let me talk there underneath the city manager? I'm gonna be allowed to ask a question under the city manager's portion of this agenda. Somebody answer me.
Jerry, just keep talking with, whatever you want to say, keep telling us.
I want to say something when her agenda items come up, 10 and 11.
Sure, I'll let you speak at 10 and
Thank you.
11, yes.
Okay. This is probably for our incredible city attorney, whom I think is the best in the South. I'm getting the actual turnover of St. Petersburg Drive. It was turned over in 2022 or 2002 or something. I was on council at the time. I'm getting a copy of that, and I interpret that copy. I'm going to bring it to y'all. I interpret that copy to say that the city, that is main drainage ditches on St. Petersburg Drive. And in those, the turnover states the city will maintain those drainage ditches, not the residents that have to mow them. They shouldn't have to mow a ditch to start with. This is deep. So if I will bring it to you, and you probably can get it. It'll probably take a little bit of time. It has taken a little bit of time. It says the city will maintain those ditches on St. Pete Drive. To me, that says the city, not a resident. The city. Oh, okay. Then I'll talk about that at that time. And I will say this. Thank you, ma'am. She has told me to shut up, sit down. I am running for mayor. I will pick up my cards, and I probably will be defeated because I'm an old man. But I'm running for mayor again. Thank you all for hearing me.
Thank you, Jerry.
I'll sit down now.
Is there any other citizens that'd like to be heard? Anyone? Come on up. Yes.
Forgive me, I have an awful lot of notes to get through this morning. So Dave McKinley, I'm here representing a couple organizations this evening for the VFW Post 12186. We meet right here at 400 St. Petersburg Drive as our meeting location. The first hat that I need to put on this evening is on behalf of Oldsmar Cares. This is going to go back a few months because we've had overlapping competing schedules. It's in particular one person that's here this evening that I'm gonna capture. So I am gonna ask for a photo opportunity so I can make a presentation to City Council. And of course, Felicia, please, as our city manager, would you all join me down here in front of the podium?
Sure. Come on, everyone. Let's join Dave.
All right, as they're coming down, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to talk about is Oldsmar Cares. That's our, if you're not familiar with them, definitely our local food bank, our local community lending locker, everything that our community and our citizens need here in the city of Oldsmar, from rental assistance or other bill assistance. Sometimes things happen and you need a way to get back up on your feet. This organization for the city of Oldsmar definitely takes care of our citizens that are here. I'm proud to come up here and award this because in recognition of what we did with Honor Our Heroes 5K that happened back over Memorial Day. This city council and the city manager really stepped up. They approved the event. They came out. They participated in it. And I want to come over here on behalf of Oldsmar Cares and say thank you with a small token of appreciation. This one I'm going to hand over. It's got the Honor Our Heroes 5K from Memorial Run. And Mayor, I'm going to ask if you'll take that from me, please.
Sure. get in here.
Yeah. I told you, she's got me on the clock. All right. All right, cool. Hey, don't leave.
I'm not.
Because here's the next part. Because although that you all approved it, I'm going to call out a couple people by name. One, Chief, thanks for all of the backup for the EMT services that were there. Mike Nimitz is not currently present this evening, but Chip Potts, right? It starts in parts. This guy, give that guy a round of applause. He's the one that made everything happen at the end of it, right? When I needed the extra labor, the extra volunteers, it didn't take any time at all for him to muster up 25 plus individuals that came out on their own time that works for the city to come out and participate with us. So Chip, first off, thank you for that. Second of all, finally, come here, you. All right, so when I say it starts in parks, this guy's not only leading from the front by participating in the community and doing all the things, but he also is leading from the front in his age group. I didn't say what the age group was, but it's significant. It's significant. So not only is this honestly not a participation medal, but within that age group, this young man continued to run out there, 50 to 54. He came first. Wow. All right. It starts with Chip. All right, that's it for you down here right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Where's that?
Still have another minute.
All right. The rest of this, I got to come back in because every once in a while I get to talk on behalf of the other veterans and our family members here within the city of Oldsmar. As you know, we're really good at capturing an objective, but not always good at capturing ours. But what I want to tell you is out of the entire state of Florida, our little old city of Oldsmar and our little old post 12186 and our family members in the auxiliary, we were nominated by the state as second place within the outstanding outreach and volunteer organization within the state. So
Wow.
thank you for that. That is nearly 1,500 hours that were given outside of the VFW organization. So whether or not it was the Oldsmar Cares or in conjunction with the Junior ROTC, helping with youth activities or getting out and participating in the other events within our parks. That's what those hours captured, and I hope to continue to grow and increase that. A lot of that comes down to all of you here at the table. So that put us in an All-American status. The national convention was at Louisville, Kentucky this year. I'm going to reclaim more time, please. And that said, it is that piece. The next two, can I continue?
Keep going.
The pause, thank you,
Yes.
sir. With that, we have an awful lot of other contributions that we do within the community, and really, especially the young ones and the parents that are in the room, I'm seeing we have other events that are getting ready to happen. Since we have a Voice of Democracy essay that's getting ready to come up. Last year, more than 25,000 students from across the nation participated. That's the high school students, so 9 through 12. More than $1 million in educational scholarships went back out. So what you do is you look here locally, you get with us, you have it's an audio essay, 3 to 5 minutes, and there is a topic of discussion that happens each year. Last year, the national first place winner traveled all the way up to Washington, D.C. and received $35,000 in total direct compensation to the American university of their choice or a trade school, whichever that individual wanted to go to. That's something that starts right here in the city of Oldsmar. So if you have a high school student that's looking forward into participating in their future, get with us. We'll be able to figure some of that out and help out with some of those pieces. The next one also is within a Patriots pen. Last year, 68,000 participants from across the state, across the country participated in it. That in itself is another scholarship program that goes straight back into school supplies and other things that young men and women in the middle school categories need to go to. That's only a 300 to 400 word essay. So when I say essay, don't get Don't get too worried. It's not that long. But with that, it's this year's, it's My Voice in America's Democracy. And what does that mean to you? That award winner throughout the post, their district, and then up to the department for the state of Florida received several $100s depending on the what level that they went at. And then it was $5,000 was the national award winner this year. Again, don't think that you have to compete for a national award right off the bat. Think about here, what you're going to do here locally within the community and go beyond that. And now, next is, in my humble opinion, the contributions of veterans and educators here within our community are some of the biggest and most important influences that we have at shaping our great nation and contributions for future generations. That said, I've got a Teacher of the Year program that also comes out, right? And I'm looking for an outstanding teacher, not just somebody that the students like or admire, but also fellow peers appreciate. Do they teach beyond just their academics? Do they go into patriotic values through an unbiased approach? Do they teach and promote civic responsibilities for the right reasons and not forced compliance? And do we have constitutional values without a political or negative distortion? All three of those events start right here in the city of Oldsmar. You can find us at vfw12186.org or on Facebook. If you go on there, you can find some of these forms that are already there at VFW Post 12186 Oldsmar. So it's easy to find, or you can always find me in the back of the room. I'm not that hard to find within the city. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for giving me the extra time on the floor.
Thank you, Dave.
David.
Good job. All right, is there anybody else that would like to be heard? Speak to the council. Come on up.
Hello, my name is John Derell. I'm an economist. I live on Lemonwood Drive in Harbor Palms, and I love Oldsmar. I want to echo some of the things Mayor Jerry just talked about: density. Me and you and Jerry and you, and most importantly, the residents are on the same page about this issue. And it's not really a matter of debate. It's just numbers. It's just facts. It's just survey results. The residents of Oldsmar do not want high-density, high-rise, 5-story apartments. We have the results right here. Stanberry got a 5.9 out of 10. Ironically, that was the choice of the 3 who voted for it, even though OAG at least got it D. So OAG got a 66%, still a D. Stanberry was actually worse. Stanberry got an F, 59%, and yet still some of the council voted for it, although I want to commend the 2 people that stood with the voters. They don't have to answer to anyone. They answered to the voters. The voters chose to reject this project. The project is an F. Oldsmar deserves better than an F. Oldsmar deserves real strategic vision. 5-story, high-density apartments is not strategic vision. That's just an easy thing to do. Any developer in the country loves to do that because they get paid. But as soon as Stanberry finishes their project, as soon as Stanberry gets their money, they'll go back to New Jersey, and we have to live here because Oldsmar is our home. So this high-density issue has caused division in the community. We need unity in the community. We need real strategic vision. We don't need more of the same. We need better than an F, and we need to actually listen to our residents. The residents have spoken. This is on the town website. It's very simple. And I'm actually shocked that the people who supported it don't want to side with the residents, the voters. It's very clear. Oldsmar deserves better than an F. Oldsmar deserves strategic vision. Oldsmar does not need partisan division. We deserve better than an F, We deserve better than failure. We deserve successful projects that are supported by the residents instead of a small group of people pushing an apartment agenda. Oldsmar deserves better than an F.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council? Okay, with that, I'm going to close the Oldsmar open forum. Next item on our agenda is the community minute, and that will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Sustainability seminar will be held on Saturday, September 21st, 10 a.m. at State Street Center. Keep Pinellas Beautiful will give a family-friendly presentation on the impacts of littering and plastics on the environment and discuss the importance of preventing and cleaning up litter. Attendees will receive free reusable grocery bags while supplies last. Pledge to evacuate. This new initiative is to encourage residents to take proactive steps by committing to a well-prepared evacuation plan that includes your residents, property, and family members. For more information, please visit oldsmarstrong.com. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Next is approval of a new additional items, item 1, 5, and 17. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is Councilmember Andrew Knapp, and he will present the Business of the Quarter Award for the third quarter of 2024.
We give him a round of
You have
applause.
the floor.
Clap for Mr. Knapp.
You're welcome. I'm excited for you.
Back to the old mic. The new old mic. Thank you, everybody, for attending this evening. Great turnout this evening. As the mayor said, I will be presenting the September 2024 Council Manager Award. Tonight, it is my distinct honor to give praise and recognize one of the oldest, if not the oldest, existing organization making a daily impact in Oldsmar. Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church has actually been around in Oldsmar longer than Oldsmar has existed. In 1912, several families that were living in the area that eventually became Oldsmar pooled their resources together to build a small wooden church building. After construction, the building effectively became Oldsmar's first church and schoolhouse. Sometime after construction, a cattleman by the name of Boyd proposed to move the church to be adjacent to what is now Tampa Road. You may be familiar with the Boyd name, as that is the family that owned the famous Boot Ranch just outside of our city limits. Boyd had several reasons for wanting to move the church, including that it happened to be in the way of his grazing cattle. He also believed that the church building would be more valuable and visible alongside the main road through Oldsmar. The exact location where the building was originally constructed is not known, but it is believed to be somewhere just east of our current fire station. While we may not know the original location, the building from 1912 still stands today right next to the Oldsmar post office. Mr. Boyd surely had some vision of how the church would remain a pillar of this area. Fast forward to more recent history, and Mount Pleasant continues to operate and make an impact on those around it. I chose to recognize the church after noticing their food pantry events that they've been holding on their grounds. Every third Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, rain or shine, the congregation hosts a lively food pantry to help local families in need. In addition to having food items to take home, the congregation members will fire up the grill to provide fresh food for the volunteers and those in need. Beyond food needs, the pantry event allows visitors to select available clothing and household items that have been donated. Besides providing items to help families, the pantry event allows visitors to discuss other community needs, including healthcare, community resources, insurance, and much more. It is an amazingly honorable mission to convene this event month after month without asking for anything in return. The church is currently led by Senior Pastor Quan Green Sr. He has been in the role of Senior Pastor since 2022 after taking the helm from his father, Pastor Robert M. Green. Elder Green was a leader of Mount Pleasant for over 33 years. Pastor Kwan has been a member of the church since his youth at the age of 10. He met his now wife, Nicole, through the church when he was 11, and together they have 3 children, Jasmine, Kwan Jr., and Faith. We are thankful for the nearly 2 years of leadership service and look forward to Pastor Kwan continuing to be a leader in the area well into the future. Besides the food pantry event, the church has several other missions, which include a women's mission, Men of Valor mission, Angels of God, which is their children's ministry, a Bible study every Wednesday at 6:30, held in person and virtually. Mount Pleasant is also a member of Florida 127, which operates a service called the Care Portal. The Care Portal serves as a connection point between member churches and families and children in crisis. The platform allows child welfare caseworkers to post notices of children or families that are in need that members can respond to on demand. This may include providing food, clothing, emotional support, or anything else that may help people. So now, without further ado, we'd like to recognize Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church as the recipient of the Council Manager Award for September 2024. Please join me in extending a warm, no pun intended, maybe pun intended, welcome to the congregation of Mount Pleasant with us this evening. Accepting the award on behalf of the church this evening is Senior Pastor Kwan Green Sr. Come on up.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Andrew. I met Andrew. I took him to lunch, and we had a wonderful time speaking, and he got all of that from me speaking. So he's an absolutely wonderful guy. What we do at Mount Pleasant is all for God's glory. That's all we do is for God's glory. I love what Oldsmar Care does. Thank you for your service for VFW. We love Oldsmar. We really do. And we want to make sure that everybody see the little church as a church that they can come to for any need that they may have. We've been here for quite a long time, but we want to make sure that we give back to the community. We started really giving back once we had an incident. Early 2020, in the 2020, we had an incident where a gentleman came in and he just wrecked the church. And from that moment on, the community really poured into Mount Pleasant. And from that moment on, we told ourselves that we would give back to the community. We've been doing it ever since. And everything that we do is absolutely free for the community. So the food, the home goods, everything that they receive is absolutely free. And we just love doing it. So we like to let our light shine before men, right? So they may see our good works and our Father get the glory. Amen.
Amen.
Everybody, let's go. Let's go. Come on up.
Yeah, you want me? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Councilman.
I remember that.
Let's go. Yeah, want to stand up here, guys?
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's probably smart. We'll wait for you. One more on this. Switch sides. Switch sides. There we go. There we go.
Nice. All right. Here we go. A couple shots here. And then, hold on. Oh, wait, there's more.
All right, now you can put the ears up.
Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
Well done.
Well done. Next item on our agenda is the Community Redevelopment Agency. I'm going to open up the meeting. Item number 2 is a public hearing, and our city manager will introduce the item.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 2 is a public hearing to adopt Resolution 2024-39, adoption of the Community Redevelopment Agency budget for fiscal year 24-25. The City of Oldsmar's proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget, which includes the Community Redevelopment Agency Fund, was reviewed by the City Council and discussed during budget workshops on May 29th, 2024, and August 13th. The proposed budget incorporates a millage rate of 4.05 mils per Resolution 2024-33, which was adopted by the City Council on September 3rd, 2024. Proposed CRA expenditures for fiscal year 24-25 total $2,755,290 and are consistent with the City of Oldsmar's tentative 24-25 budget. Exhibit A of the resolution 2024-39 details the planned revenue and expenditures for fiscal year 24-25. I will read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 2024-39, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, acting as a community redevelopment agency, approving the CRA budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year and providing for an effective date hereof. Whereas it is necessary for the CRA to estimate the necessary revenue to meet the obligations and expenses of the CRA, and whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, acting as a community redevelopment agency, has reviewed the proposed budget for the CRA for fiscal year 24-25 that is included as part of the final budget of the City of Oldsmar. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, acting as a community redevelopment agency in session duly and regularly assembled. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, acting as a community redevelopment agency, hereby approves and adopts the community redevelopment agency budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year attached hereto as Exhibit A. Section 2, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon passage and adoption. This is a reading of the resolution in its entirety.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. I am going to open up the public hearing. Is there any member of the public wishing to be heard on this item? With no one, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadazowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Shiraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-39 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, Felicia, City Manager. I am going to close the community redevelopment portion of the meeting and return back to the City Council meeting. Next item on our agenda is the consent docket. This will be read by our City Clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 3, approve minutes of September 3rd, 2024 council meeting. There has been a correction made to item 10 and item 11 of those minutes to show that the resolution was read in its entirety. Item 4, approve payment to Trask Daniel LLP for August 2024 legal services. Item 5, approve reappointment of regular member Kathy Shaker to the Code Enforcement Board. Item 6, approve repairs on existing above-ground fueling system at the Municipal Service Center by Guardian Fueling Technologies per Collier County Contract Number 27803. Item 7, approve renewal of general liability property workers' compensation insurance with the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust for FY 24-25.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull any item? All right, then I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any of the items? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is City Attorney Tom Trask.
Thank you, Mayor. This is item number 8. It's a public hearing and second reading of ordinance 2024-16. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2024-16, an ordinance declaring the intention of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, to annex certain real property located in Section 22, Township 28 South, Range 16 East, further described as Lot 9, Block 10, map of Section Number 1, West Oldsmar, parcel number 22, 28, 16, 96, 660, 010, 0090, into the corporate limits of the city of Oldsmar, providing for an effective date of this ordinance. There was a second final reading of ordinance 2024-16 by title only. It was read on, first read on September the 3rd. There have been no changes since that reading.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would wish to be heard on this subject? Anyone? Okay, thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All right, and any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadaszewski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-16 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Got off easy tonight,
Yeah,
Tom.
I did. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is our city manager, Felicia Donnelly. She's Felicia Donnelly, and she will take care of item number 9.
Item number 9 is approve amendment to the interlocal agreement for the creation of Pinellas County Metropolitan Planning Organization. On September 13, 2023, the Ford Pinellas Board voted unanimously to adopt a resolution approving a membership reapportionment plan, which is enclosed for your review. That plan was subsequently transmitted to the governor. The governor has approved the recommended plan. Tina Jablon is here from Ford Pinellas to give a brief presentation.
Welcome, Tina.
Hi, good evening. This is going to pull up here and there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it should.
I'll take your word for it. Good evening again, Mayor and council members. It's good to see all of you tonight. I'm here to talk to you, as Felicia said, about the reapportionment plan for the Ford Pinellas Board. And given that I see so many familiar faces in the room, it's safe to say that most of you are somewhat familiar with Ford Pinellas and who we are. One thing that a lot of people are less familiar with, however, is the fact that Ford Pinellas, in essence, is actually 2 legal entities. It exists as both the Pinellas Planning Council and the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Pinellas County. In its role as the Pinellas Planning Council, it handles issues related to land use across the county. As the Metropolitan Planning Organization, it covers things like transportation and mobility issues. Forgive the analogy, but the marriage of the two makes for a very beautiful union, I would say, and together they're able to take on special projects and take on a lot of different planning initiatives countywide. Our board is comprised of currently 13 members, and those members are elected officials from throughout the county representing all the 24 local governments as well as the county commission, and there's also a member on there representing the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority. To support the board and our mission at Ford Pinellas, we also have 9 advisory committees that make recommendations up to the board. And part of our mission, too, is to maintain regional relationships throughout the Tampa Bay region, and we do that by our communication and our relationships with PSTA and FDOT and other MPOs in the area. The action on your agenda item tonight relates to the reapportionment of our board. And some of you may be asking, well, what is reapportionment and what does it mean and why are we doing this? As I said before, we are 2 separate legal entities, but the membership composition of our board is actually managed entirely by the MPO side. So that is according to federal and state law. We are required every 10 years after the decennial census to review and reevaluate who sits on our board and the voting composition based on population changes. As part of that process, we looked into the percent changes in Pinellas County after that census. You can see here from 2010 to 2020 the changes that we recognized in the population throughout the county. And we are also now, as we're planning for the next long-range transportation plan, expecting another 100,000 residents to join us here in Pinellas County. This slide here talks about our existing voting structure. As I said, we currently have 13 board members, and this shows you the percentage of population that they currently represent and the percent vote that they have on the board. I will say in 2023, the Ford Pinellas Board went through an extensive process looking at the current membership to come up with this plan here. We held multiple meetings, had discussions with all the local governments, as well as held one special meeting to ultimately decide to come to this new voting structure. The new structure did add 6 seats to the board. It added 2 additional seats for St. Petersburg, 1 additional seat for Clearwater, 1 additional seat for the county commission, 1 seat for the city of Tarpon Springs. And in addition, it separated made 2 seats out of one of our current rotating seats for the inland communities. Some of the things that we considered when we went through that process were, in particular, the rotating seats on our board. Those rotating seats, as they currently exist, are 2-year terms, and any of you who have sat on our board may realize that the learning curve is quite steep for the materials that we cover on a monthly basis. Our meetings are long, and they cover a wide variety of subject matter. It takes a little while to get up to speed. And so staff recommended that we extend those terms to 3 years to give folks an opportunity not only to get up to speed, but also to be able to possess leadership roles on the board, because with only a 2-year term, it's difficult to find yourself in a leadership role on the board. We also looked at the increasing populations for the 2 cities, St. Petersburg and Clearwater. And for the county commission, in addition to their population, we looked at requiring them to make one of the seats an at-large appointment. So when we added that additional seat, we also made that requirement that one of the seats had to be from an at-large district. So why am I here tonight? Next steps. As Felicia said, the governor approved our apportionment plan. I will say that took a little longer than we were all anticipating, so the timing is a little untimely for us. But we are in the process now of coming out, like I am here tonight, to meet with the local governments, ask them to reevaluate the interlocal agreement. It is the first amendment to that agreement, and it's simply making changes to the membership and the terms as I've outlined tonight. And we're asking you to approve the amendment to the interlocal agreement and sign on to reaffirm the membership for the FordPelis board. I will say, Councilmember Knapp has been a great board member. His time will be up with us in December. And I will also let you know that last night, Safety Harbor, because as you know, your seat is now 2 cities only, Tarpon Springs getting its own seat, so now it's Safety Harbor and Oldsmar, and they were responsible for making the next appointment because you're finishing out a term. Last night, they did appoint Mayor Ayub to be your representative on the FordPelis board. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, do we have any questions?
Why don't you like Andrew?
I actually like him. I think I said I liked him. If I didn't, it came out wrong.
I did hear that, though.
All right, well, great job.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
he served well, and I'm just teasing. That comes from a very generous place, as you know, Mr.
Of course.
Of course.
Good?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Now, what's even here? Thank you. All right, next item is item 10.
We gotta do
yes.
we gotta do our duty.
Oh, yes, thank you. I just noticed that. Thank you, Councilmember Knapp. I appreciate that. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Now, item 10.
Item number 10, approve renewal of agreement with Shoemaker Advisors LLC for consulting and lobbying services for fiscal year 24-25. The city is contracted with Susky Consulting LLC for consulting and lobbying services since January 2018. Susky Consulting has since been acquired by Shoemaker Advisors. The relationship has brought substantial benefit to the city since the inception of the contract, including assistance in receiving funding for Douglas Road, the State Street Ditch Project, St. Petersburg Drive Complete Streets, and many others. The firm will continue to provide necessary consulting and government relations services for the city before the Florida executive and legislative branches and other entities on issues related to the city's infrastructure and other funding needs. Staff believes that it's in the city's best interest to continue this established working relationship to finalize current projects and provide a strong backdrop of support for future needs for the city of Oldsmar. The agreement, originally approved by the City Council on 9/20/2022, includes automatic annual renewals. The cost of the agreement remains the same at $5,000 per month or $60,000 per year for consulting and lobbying services, plus annual expenses not to exceed $3,000 or $250 per month. This renewal is presented to the City Council for approval because the annual cost exceeds $25,000. Staff recommends approval. A representative from Shoemaker is here, Jim Taylor. I would like to invite you up to the lectern, and he would like to say a few words.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Jim Taylor, Vice President of Shoemaker Advisors. Actually, I live just down the road in Tampa, and it is a thrill to be here right now because I got 4 boys, all under the age of 7, and it is bedtime, so I'm thrilled to be here in front of y'all. My wife may have a different opinion that I'm here, but again, it is an honor to be here. It's an honor to work alongside my friend Alan Susky, who would be here but got delayed, so it was an easy jaunt for me to come over here and represent the firm on his behalf. He's done great work over the past several years. I look forward to joining the team, working with staff, working with you all up in Tallahassee, representing your priorities. So with that, happy to answer any questions, but most importantly, we look forward to continuing to get to work.
Okay, any questions? Yes, Councilman?
Just one. Thank you, Mayor. At first, it's nice to meet you.
Great to meet you.
For coming here
Absolutely.
tonight to talk with us briefly. I mean, as our city manager already announced, we have had some great results from having Susky Consulting work in partnership with the city. So we're also members of the Florida League of Cities.
Yep.
And I know that they also advocate for the interests of cities independently. And we pay, a membership fee for that, and they also provide educational services to us, as well as training opportunities and things like that, as I'm sure you're aware. But we also have a separate relationship with Shoemaker Advisors for lobbying services. It sounds the same, but it's different. So I was hoping that you could help us and our residents understand the difference and how the services that Susky provides are different or unique from what the Florida League of Cities provides.
Fantastic question. And the reason why that's a fantastic question, so prior to coming to Shoemaker Advisors, because we merged with Susky Consulting.
Yes.
Prior to coming on to Shoemaker Advisors, I was actually the government relations director for Hillsborough County.
Okay.
We were a part of Florida Association of Counties as well.
Which is, yep.
So we have 67 counties, 535 plus cities in Florida. Each city is unique in itself. You're unique relative to your sister cities, around the community. Pinellas County is not Hillsborough County. Hillsborough County is not Duval County. So yes, every year the Florida League of Cities, they get together and they go over what the priorities are, and they typically are general in nature.
Yeah.
But each year, your priorities may shift based on the uniqueness of Oldsmar. That's where we, as your consultants, as your lobbyist, we go march down the hallways, meeting with the appropriate lawmakers to say, hey, we need septic to sewer. Here's why. Or we've got this infrastructure based on this, the storm systems we've had in West Central Florida over the past several years. This is why we need to get this particular dollar amount in the budget. The Florida League doesn't get into appropriations. They stay in policy. I know the folks over at Florida League of Cities. I worked with them in tandem back when I was with the county because there were county issues that were the same as the city, so we would work together. They do a phenomenal job of getting up in committee, speaking before all the different committees and subcommittees, outlining the general broad issues of policy, whether they're a proponent or opponent of it. But there may be some years to where you might not agree with where the Florida League landed. There were years where Hillsborough County, we did not land. We weren't in agreement with the Florida Association of Counties. And so on our Monday call, I would just chime in to say, hey, Hillsborough County, we're removing ourselves. We're going to be actually neutral on this issue. Fair enough. Thank you for letting us know. So we work in partnership, but then there's also a very distinct difference that what we do on behalf of Oldsmar.
So yeah, that kind of answers my question. So the ROI we get out of our relationship with Shoemaker Advisors is much more obvious and acute in our budget, it seems.
Both in budget, and again, once the election happens in November, and we definitely know leadership in Tallahassee, we know the makeup of the committees, working with professional staff to determine what your priorities are. Then we get to work, because again, there may be a very particular issue unique to Oldsmar that we need to, on your behalf, go meet with the appropriate chairs of those committees, because that's the, it's a 60-day sprint in Tallahassee. So you get to work right away. And so it's having those conversations early, both on policy and, of course, on appropriations as well.
Yeah. The appropriations one is kind of a big thing.
Very big,
here.
yes. It's big in many
It's the biggest-
localities.
it's
I
the biggest thing,
And we
yeah.
understand. Yep.
Usually has to do with the road around here.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I
Of course,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
Councilmember Net?
Questions?
Anybody?
Thank you for coming.
So okay, so Jim, I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming out. I've known RJ since probably 2015, the first time I went to Tallahassee. I've never been to Tallahassee, and he
Yes.
took me around.
Love it.
So are you going to be our rep for the city of Oldsmar?
You will have myself, you'll have Alan Susky, and depending on what the issue may be, if there's someone else in our firm that is subject matter expert, you get access to them. But when you are in Tallahassee, you will have either myself or Alan Susky doing the exact same thing my friend RJ did for you.
Are you
know,
still on the second floor above
we
Ron Pierce? Or
we
did you-
we moved right across the street next
Oh.
to Goody Goody, so we'll let you know where we are. Anytime you're in Tallahassee, you'll have my cell phone, and you just let us know when you're there. But we will also work, in anticipation if there's a particular day or days you're in Tallahassee, working with you to say, hey, here are the meetings we think would be the best set for you, set those for you, walk you through the expectations of Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we're with you lockstep throughout the entire time you're in Tallahassee.
I'll be up there for the Florida League of Cities.
Perfect.
And we would meet with Ed Hooper.
Yep.
And he's the appropriations chair this year, so we're excited about that because he represents our city.
Yes, sir.
But I look forward to working with you, and I really do appreciate you coming out and doing the presentation.
Happy to be here, excited to work alongside y'all, and look forward to our time in Tallahassee.
Okay, thank you.
We may have to
Absolutely.
send you home now.
Yeah.
I might delay and just listen
Drive
to,
slow.
listen to public comment. I'm used to it anyways, back in my
This
days
is
in
broadcast on
Hillsborough.
YouTube, though.
Sounds like you're busy. They're all under 7.
All under 7, 6, and twin 4-year-olds.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
God bless.
I love it, I love it. So,
Thank you again.
perfect, thank you.
Jerry, you want to speak? You said you wanted to speak on item 10? Come on up.
I've never been impressed with this kind of individuals, but I know that they can do a good job, but when they represent a bunch of people, you don't get your full job done. I'd like to ask a question. Just how much money have they brought in? I know in times past, Bruce and I would fly to Tallahassee, or the mayor, or some of our representative, and we would do our own judgments up there. How much money have they brought in? You aren't going to answer me. God, I don't understand this damn, I stand up here, ask a question, everybody just looks at me. Would you give me an answer to that in 2 weeks, or next day, or maybe a month?
Jerry, we can get back to you. I mean,
And I don't want
Jerry,
it in
we'll get back to
generalities,
you.
I want it in money, because a lot of times, credit is given to the people. Now, they can help you. They can help you. With the League of Cities, who are they going to represent? The League of Cities or the city of Oldsmar or Tampa or whoever? If you don't hold these people to the fire, I mean, they're up there collecting your money. How much money have they brought city? Now you say you're going to use St. Pete Drive. You people could have got that money from Tallahassee. You didn't need somebody up there talking for you. You can talk for yourself. You can get money also. Let them know who Oldsmar is. I'm not totally against his organization, but they get a lot of credit they don't deserve. I'll guarantee you, they get a lot of credit they don't deserve. You are our representatives. You can call Tallahassee. They have some inroads, so do you. That's all I want to say. So,
Jerry, I just have one comment. I've been working with them for about 6 years, maybe 7 years. They've done a great job for our
okay,
city.
that's fine. That's all I
And
want to
I'll
know.
get you the numbers, but I just want you to know that I am humbled and honored when I go to Tallahassee and they help our city get these
All I want to
appropriation
know
money.
is when they help your city.
They help us.
I want it,
Absolutely.
I want it in writing, Mayor, how they help the city. Just because they're there, that doesn't mean they help the city. I know they talk for you. They're paid to talk for you. But how about the results? Okay,
You got it. We'll get it for you. Thank you, Jerry.
I'm on the next one also.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
To move?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Gannon, a second by Councilmember Knapp. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 11.
Item number 11. Is to approve the fiscal year 24-25 Business Assistance Partnership Agreement with the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. The Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce is required to submit an annual report to the city manager as part of the current Business Assistant Partnership Agreement. There's a brief presentation that is attached and a copy of the report. The current Business Assistant Partnership Agreement with the Upper Tampa Bay Regional Chamber of Commerce commenced on October 1, 2023, and will expire September 30th, 2024. This agenda item proposes to enter into a similar agreement with the Chamber for a period of 1 year beginning October 1, 2024. The purpose of the agreement is for the Chamber to provide a business assistance partnership program and to support the City of Oldsmar in its economic development efforts. The allocated amount for this agreement is $34,000 and is included in the fiscal year 24-25 budget. The Chamber representatives from the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber have a presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Ms. Donnelly. Evidently, she forgot my name. So we have the start of a presentation. You want to hit that slide for me? I was going to reiterate a little bit, but seems like Felicia did a pretty good job up front as saying what the business partnership agreement is and how it operates, what we do. So we just want to run kind of a year in review as far as the highlights of some of the stuff we do. Please don't take this as all the stuff we do. I mean, if you have other questions or you see us doing other things out there, it's definitely more, in depth with a lot of meetings and things. But we'll get to that, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll have some questions on it. Do we have a slide? Sorry, I'm waiting on a slide.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for visual cue.
It's coming. I can
Okay.
feel it.
If it isn't, I can wing it. You just have to
We do have the
imagine.
slides, but
Okay.
it'd be nice
Yeah.
for everybody to be able to see it.
I just didn't bring my slides because I thought they'd be up, but I still have my notes, so I can do it. Okay.
I think we could give them a moment.
You usually have like really cool transitions in your slides.
Oh, you have no idea the
I
transitions
know,
on this
that's why
one.
I'm looking forward, like,
Yeah,
honestly, bated breath over here.
I spent hours just removing all of them this time. Okay.
So while you're
All right,
waiting.
we're gonna go.
Go ahead.
It's no problem.
Oh, here we go.
When it,
Oh,
Bing, bing, bing,
oh,
bing.
when we get
Jason,
it, when we get it, they'll catch up. All right, there we
There
go.
you go.
All right. That's us. Next.
that's us next.
Yeah, that's it. You want me to click it? Okay, thank you. All right, there we go, it's working. Okay, we covered the intro, thank you. So one of the things that we do, we work heavily on right now is currently with the employee sites, the employment sites program. So that's the program that the county has that includes the Penny for Pinellas money, which goes to certain businesses in the area that apply for it for growth, maintaining them in the county, things like that. This year, we had just over $3.2 million come into the area for businesses in Oldsmar, and that's bringing all that tax money back into here for the base to help with the businesses, like I say, grow and keep them in the area for us so they don't move to Pasco County, which was actually exactly what one of the companies was going to do in the process of this for this year. So for this year, the total's just over $3.2 million for that. We also have the We Mean Business agenda that we do. We Mean Business, we visited over 20 businesses in Oldsmar. We set a meeting with them, with the ownership and the employees, whoever they want to have in the meeting. The mayor, our chair, and other representatives from the city join,
and we go and interview the businesses. We see what they do, if we can do anything else for them, how they got here. We cover everything from number of employees, average pay. We pretty much cover the gamut and try to get information on the businesses. So we understand better the businesses out there and what we can do for them. So we bring all that information back to the city as well. We help them with any things that they need, and then, again, fall onto the city for the rest of it there. Okay, these are the business of the quarters that we do. We also identify, as we're out there with the businesses, identify the businesses that we want to recognize for businesses of the quarter. These for the last 4 that we had for this calendar year, minus this evening. But Shaker and Peel, Ally, Tampa Bay Brewing Company, and Goodwill. Here are the pictures of giving the awards, which have you esteemed folk in them as well, which dress them up very nice, so we appreciate that. Our seminar series that we do 2 seminars approximately every 6 months, just depending on when we can get them scheduled. Those are for the businesses, local businesses, and government officials and county officials that if they usually have, we usually have a pretty good mix of that. They cover everything, like our last one necessarily was permitting 411. So that was specifically for residents and businesses in Oldsmar for permitting questions, how to go about it, pitfalls, what to do, what not to do, signage. I mean, everything we can think of to kind of brief them in advance and help them along with that. Mr. Jackson was a great speaker for that and helped us out because he was Johnny on the spot with all the answers to the questions that we had. And as you can imagine, when it comes to permitting and with businesses have a lot of questions with that, it was a pretty spirited conversation throughout the whole meeting because they don't know a lot of times. Businesses don't know a lot how they're supposed to go about things and calling the city. Nothing against any city staff or anything that happens, but they don't get the answers all the time because the businesses don't know, they get confused. So it's a great way for them to help that and preface a lot of that so they don't have trouble in the future. We also have what we call a trustee luncheon. Again, that's for city officials, county officials, and the businesses, local businesses. Occasionally, we do get some residents in there as well that want to join, but we bring in, excuse me, mainly, in my opinion, it's other nonprofits and people within the region that are usually pretty well known at that point. We bring them in and we talk to them about their businesses, their nonprofits, what they do for the community, how they do it, how to get involved, how to help the other businesses get involved. And sometimes it's great contacts for the smaller businesses that want to do things and just aren't to that point yet, and vice versa. And sometimes it's great for, the Tampa Bay Lightning to meet the businesses in our area here and see what they do and how they act and how they can help the local community because they help the local community in so many different ways. So it helps them to understand what their target audience is. This will give you an idea, like I said, of all the different meetings and everything we do. It doesn't account for all of them, but the city chamber meetings, just what we call them, that we do twice a month for that, economic development meetings, one Pinellas Business Alliance, economic summits, all the gamut of everything with that. That just on the board there totals about 3 meetings a week. I think I did the math, 146 total meetings throughout the year is what we do. And that's when I say meetings/events, because if we do a luncheon or this or that, takes a little bit more to put that together, but essentially they're just meetings. So those are the things that we do along the way through the year. And of course, ribbon cuttings. So ribbon cuttings, you've all been, you know what they are. So these are for local businesses within Oldsmar. Anybody who would like a ribbon cutting can have a ribbon cutting. For the past about 18 months, we've been working with the city to better identify the businesses within the community that may need a ribbon cutting. And how that works, just so you know, is when we get a business tax, when the city gets a business tax receipt, we'll go ahead and at the end of every month get a listing of the new businesses in the area that have applied for a business tax receipt. Therefore, for us, identifying them as a new business to Oldsmar. They get a letter right away welcoming them into the city, telling them what the chamber can do for them, and tell them we're available for any questions or any help, and offering them a free ribbon cutting anytime they're ready for that. So they get touched right away as soon as they get into the city to let them know they're here and we're here for them. And then we do the ribbon cuttings, which are a lot of fun. So And then I think that is it. Okay.
All right, thank you.
That's it for now. So, any questions?
Yep, any questions for Jason? No questions? No, all right. Thank you very much.
Ooh.
Appreciate it,
I'll
great
stand
job.
by. You're welcome.
All right. Jerry, do you want to speak on item 11?
I'm gonna stay right here with you if that's okay.
I'll probably make some of them mad, but that's okay.
Come on.
These are friends. He's my neighbor. And sometimes I helped the Chamber of Commerce in 1990, really good, and I really did for a lot of years. And then I fell out with the Chamber, didn't I?
No.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I fell out with them.
Yeah, some opinions.
Yeah, 'cause my opinion was right, sometimes. How many businesses do we actually have in the city of Oldsmar?
Including or not including the flea market?
Don't include the flea market. I don't want to
No,
include.
I don't know, Mr.
No.
Freeland. I'd give you a bad answer. That wouldn't be good, huh? 1,100.
That's good. 1,100 businesses.
Correct.
All right. Look at him. Boy, he's ready to strike at me. Don't. You really don't want to do that.
I'll hit the floor before you, don't worry.
I wouldn't guarantee that, but that might be happening, right? Exactly what do you pay the chamber for? I'm a little confused.
$34,000.
I know how much they pay you.
Oh,
But you don't do, what's he standing here for? I'm talking to the council. That's okay. You-
sometimes they don't answer you, so I figured I'd help
No,
out.
they never answer me.
Well, then I'll help out.
You have development, right? Does the city have anything, or are you giving it to the chamber to do?
In my opinion, we
No,
get it.
I don't want your opinion.
Well, you're not gonna get theirs. You might not get theirs.
Okay, give me your opinion.
I feel we're the economic development arm of the city. Not that we do everything, because they have to have people that support it and everything as well. Matt Jackson, not to point him
I
out,
don't-
whether it's him or not, I
but-
mean,
but-
that's a big help.
But what do you actually do?
I'll walk you through the meetings and
Subsection
everything
D.
if you want.
I can talk
Yeah.
to him separately,
Okay.
okay? And you all get along with your business. 'Cause I know you want to get home and walk something.
The, just to give you an idea, one thing. Just
'Cause
before
I
you
don't
leave.
want the city needs to have their own development department,
And I.
You don't farm it out,
And
okay?
I agree with you, and that's good. City of Dean right now has a proposed. in
We're
their-
holding them up. We'll go
No.
talk.
No,
Okay,
I'd
thank you,
like to say
Jerry.
this.
Oh, go
if That's
ahead.
all right.
Go
Just let
ahead.
me finish. Right now, the city of Dunedin, okay,
I
has
don't care
proposed in
about
their budget.
Dunedin.
I know you don't, but it's a similar city and everything else, okay? They have just short of a $500,000 budget for economic development for salaries and benefits alone, okay? If you want to do that, that's fine. If you need more people, that's fine. We can even help you with that. If you'd like to do it on your own, that's fine, but those are the numbers that you're in for.
That's what I'm asking you. Is that
know.
what you do for Oldsmar?
Yeah, that's exactly what we try to do for Oldsmar, yeah.
We need to talk about it, gang. Oldsmar needs to do their own, with your help.
You can do your own.
I know, we did.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Look at it.
We good?
Oldsmar grew,
Yeah.
Mayor.
grew big.
Mayor,
Okay, guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion on that? All right, I need a motion to approve the,
Second.
all right, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion passes. Item 12.
Item number 12 is a public hearing to adopt Resolution 2024-35, establishing a millage rate of 4.05 mils for fiscal year 24-25. On July 16, 2024, the City Council authorized the city manager to complete the certification of taxable value, indicating a proposed millage rate of 4.05 mils to the property appraiser. In August, the Pinellas County property appraiser mailed the truth and millage trim notices to all property owners, advising them of the city's proposed millage rate for fiscal year 24-25. The proposed millage rate is equal to the previous year, which was also 4.05 mils. Florida statutes requires a separate vote by the City Council for the adoption of a millage rate and a budget. The first public hearing adopting the tentative millage rate was held on Tuesday, September 3rd. A second and final public hearing is required to adopt the millage rate. I will read the resolution in its entirety. A resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, setting the millage levy for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025. And whereas, in accordance with law, the Pinellas County Property Appraiser has certified that the City of Oldsmar a rollback millage rate of 3.8864 mils, and whereas the proposed millage rate is greater than the rollback rate of 4.21%, and now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida hereby sets the millage rate for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025 at 4.05 mils. Section 2, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I am going to open up the public hearing. Is there any member of the public wishing to be heard on this item? And I'll close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve the adopt resolution 24-35, establishing a millage rate of 4.05 mils for the fiscal year 24-25.
So moved.
Motion? Motion in a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber.
Yes.
Councilmember Tadaszewski.
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp.
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-35 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item 13.
Item number 13 is a public hearing to adopt Resolution 2024-36, establishing a budget for fiscal year 24-25. The proposed budget was presented to the City Council on Tuesday, July 16th. The budget work session was held Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Florida statutes requires a separate vote by the City Council for the adoption of the millage rate and the budget. The first public hearing adopting the tentative budget was held Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. A second and final hearing is required to adopt the final budget for fiscal year 24-25. I will read Resolution 2024-36 in its entirety. A resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting the budget appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1st, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025, and now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, does hereby establish the appropriations for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025 as follows. See attached Schedule A, pages 1 to 8. The general fund is $18,828,805. Public Safety Impact Fund, $178,750. Parkland Dedication Fund, $5,250. Multimodal Impact Fund, $16,500. Community Redevelopment Agency Fund, $2,755,290. Debt service for Harbor Palms is $380,530. Capital Improvement Fund is $5,335,000. Water and Sewer Operating Fund, $12,147,460. Water and Sewer Impact Fund, $95,000. Stormwater Utility Fund, $2,021,960. Solid Waste Fund, $3,216,925. Total budget appropriations are $44,981,470. Section 2, that all purchase orders for materials and services that remain open at the year-end fiscal year 23-24 are to become supplemental appropriations in the respective departmental accounts in the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025, unless canceled. Section 3, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon adoption. This is a reading of Resolution 2024-36 in its entirety.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing. Is there any member of the public wishing to be heard on this item? With that, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to adopt Resolution 2436, establishing a budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor, and I believe a second by Councilmember Gannon.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah.
they're fighting over
No,
their time.
I'm handing it off.
Any other discussion?
No, sir.
All right, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadaszewski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Suraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-36 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Item 14.
Item 14, adopt resolution 2024-41, establishing the Fire Rescue Department fees. As part of a recent comprehensive review of the city's fee schedule, staff compared the charges for services to those of Safety Harbor, Dunedin, Tarpon Springs, Largo, and Clearwater. In addition, fire rescue fees were compared to other fire rescue departments throughout Pinellas, including special fire districts. Our findings demonstrate that many of the fees charged by neighboring jurisdictions are not being charged by the city of Oldsmar. The attached resolution recommends that new fees relating to fire rescue department services are adopted. I will read the resolution 2024-41 in its entirety. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting a fire rescue department fee schedule and providing for an effective date hereof. Whereas the purpose of the Oldsmar Fire Department is the suppression, prevention, investigation, and control of fires and the protection of life, property, and the public welfare in the city by providing fire and related services to the citizens of the city. And whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar wishes to adopt a fire rescue department fee schedule outlining the fees to be charged for periodic fire and life safety inspections, plan reviews, and related inspections, special event inspections, and compliance inspections. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled. 1, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar hereby establishes the Fire Rescue Department fee schedule as set forth in Exhibit A attached here to, which shall be in effect on, I amend this to be January 1st, 2025. In the agenda packet, it says October 1st, 2024. So will be in effect on January 1st, 2025, and shall remain in effect until rescinded, altered, or modified by subsequent resolution of the City Council. Section 2, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage and adoption.
All right, thank you. I'm looking for a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-41, establishing the Fire Rescue Department fees.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item?
Should the motion be to approve it in effect?
She's read the entire resolution as the way that it should be read.
Okay.
So we don't need to modify or make an amendment to the draft resolution.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 15.
Item number 15 is adopt resolution 2024-38, revising the planning and redevelopment fees. The city's planning and redevelopment fees have been reviewed and updated periodically over time to adjust existing fees and implement new fees. As part of the recent comprehensive review of the city's fee schedule, staff compared the city's charges of services to those of Safety Harbor, Dunedin, Tarpon Springs, Largo, and Clearwater. During this fee evaluation, staff also recommends the attached revisions, including adding new fees for services currently rendered but not recovered. New planning and redevelopment fees include various site plan and fire review fees. In addition, this resolution will provide a comprehensive fee schedule in one place.
All
I'm going to
right.
read this in its entirety. Resolution 2024-38. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting a revised planning and redevelopment fee schedule, repealing resolutions 90-04, 2003-03, 2006-26, 2007-16, 2010-16, 2014-05, 2014-07, 2022-10, and 2023-11, and all other resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date hereof. Whereas Resolution 90-04 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to amend certain filing, review, and publication fees in accordance with the Oldsmar Land Development Code, whereas Resolution 2003-03 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to establish fees for various activities and requests pertaining to the Oldsmar Town Center Development Code and Town Center Plan. And whereas Resolution 2006-26 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to amend certain building permit and various related permit fees, and whereas Resolution 2007-16 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to establish fees for engineering review, staff analysis, legal fees, and other costs associated with applications for special actions or development permits, and whereas Resolution 2010-16 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to revise its filing, review, and publication fee schedule to increase the fees associated with assessment searches, and whereas Resolution 2014-05, subsequently revised by Resolution 2014-07, was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to revise its permit, inspection, and plans examination fee schedule to amend certain building permit and other various related permit fees. And whereas Resolution 2022-10 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to revise its permit, inspection, and plans examination fee schedule to provide that applicants for building permits bear the expenses associated for building plans, permit staff reviews, building inspections, and related costs. And whereas Resolution 2023-11 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to revise its filing, review, and publication fee schedule to increase the fees associated with assessment searches and publication advertising for variances. And whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar wishes to further revise and consolidate its filing, review, and publication fee schedule together with its permit, inspection, and plans fee schedule with regards to special events, recreation, and facility rentals, and to repeal any previously existing resolutions. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar in a session duly and regularly assembled. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar hereby adopts planning and redevelopment fee schedule as set forth in Exhibit A, attached here to, which shall be in effect October 1st, 2024, and shall remain in effect until rescinded, altered, and modified by subsequent resolution of the City Council. Section 2, that resolutions 90-04, 2003-03, 2006-26, 2007-16, 2010-16, 2014-05, 2014-07, 2022-10, 2023-11, and all other resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and all other resolutions in conflict herewith are also repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its passage and adoption. This was a reading of Resolution 2024-38 in its entirety.
You did it.
Can you do it again? Yeah. Get another
Start
round.
over because I missed the section in the
Missed a
middle.
word.
No, I didn't
That's
see
the
it.
first sentence.
All right, I need a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-38, revising the planning and redevelopment fees.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion?
All right, Felicia, I know that was a lot, but no wonder these businesses are confused.
It's true.
Right? So this is good. All of the fees associated with all of the permits and all of the different things will all be in one place. Easier to understand, and actually collecting fees for the services we provide. Smart. Thank you.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 16.
Item number 16, adopt resolution 2024-40, revising parks and recreation fees. The city's parks and recreation fees were last adopted in 2013 and have not kept up pace with inflation and other market conditions. As part of the recent comprehensive review of the city's fee schedule, staff compared the charges for services and facility use of those to Safety Harbor, Dunedin, Tarpon Springs, Largo, and Clearwater. During the fee evaluation, staff recommends that the attached revisions and addition of new fees for services currently provided by the city. New parks and recreation fees include BMX timing sessions, BMX practice sessions, BMX racing sessions, BMX pro sessions, bike rental, helmet rental, camps and clinics for BMX supercross track, and facilities and park shelter reservations for nonprofits. I will read the resolution 2024-40 in its entirety. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting a revised Parks and Recreation fee schedule, repealing resolutions 2013-06, 2016-01, and 2019-01, and all other resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date hereof. Whereas Resolution 2013-06 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to establish recreation card fees and a facility rental and deposit schedule, And whereas Resolution 2016-01 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to limit charging and collection of parking and camping fees in city parks. And whereas Resolution 2019-01 was adopted by the City of Oldsmar to revise the fees charged for rec cards for participants in organized recreational youth and sports leagues. And whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar wishes to further revise and consolidate its parks and recreation fee schedule with regards to special events, recreation, and facility rentals, and to repeal any previously existing resolutions. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar hereby adopts a Parks and Recreation fee schedule as set forth in Exhibit A, attached here to, which shall be in effect October 1, 2024, and shall remain in effect until rescinded, altered, or modified by subsequent resolution of the City Council. Section 2, that resolutions 2013-06, 2016-01, and 2019-01, and all other resolutions in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and all other resolutions in conflict herewith are also repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon passage and adoption. This is a reading of the resolution 2024-40 in its entirety.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-40, revising parks and recreation fees.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 17.
Item 17 is to approve an amendment number 1 to the service level agreement for the use of a web-based software system for third-party reporting of fire protection systems inspections with Brycer LLC. The service level agreement for use of a web-based software system for third-party reporting for fire protection system inspections with Brycer was approved on February 7, 2023 and expires February 6, 2026. Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar requires electronic submittal of third-party inspection reports related to fire alarm systems, fire sprinkler systems, fixed fire protection systems, and any other fire protection system installed as a requirement of the Florida Fire Prevention Codes. Brycer's web-based software system, the Compliance Engine, assists the city in upholding compliance with the reporting requirements by the appropriate contractors and provides the city with an organized platform to maintain the inspection reports. Approval of the proposed amendment would include a fee to the city on a quarterly basis, the amount of which the city fees exceed the amount fees due and payable to Brycer by third-party contractors minus a 7% processing fee. This amendment has been reviewed by city attorney and staff recommends approval.
I'm looking for a motion for approval.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We have any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 18.
Is to approve the software as a service agreement for the use of a web-based software for fire permits and inspections with Tyler Technologies and authorize the city manager to execute the related submitter merchant payment processing instructions and guidelines with Payment Tech LLC. The Fire Rescue Department has proposed the adoption of Mobile Eyes fire prevention mobile inspection software to improve efficiency with the inspection process. The software will be used for a range of inspections, including routine and life safety, building permit, mobile food vendors, and special event inspections, among other needs. Additionally, the software will feature invoice and payment modules that will facilitate the management of fees and payments associated with these inspections. The agreement obligates the city to $17,339 over the 3-year initial term. This is below the $25,000 council approval threshold. However, due to the nature of the agreement and in accordance with the city attorney's recommendation, it's being brought to council for approval. Both the software and the service agreement and the merchant payment processing instructions and guidelines have been reviewed by the city attorney. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion for approval.
So moved. Yeah,
Who wants it?
Me? You?
I believe it's Gannon and Tartazeski.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other discussion on this item?
Since we're gonna be collecting fees now, a way to do it would be important, and if Chief says this would be the way to do it, I'm down with that.
Have the software. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 19.
is approve the special event application fee waiver request and use of the city logo for the Holiday Sharing Fund Craft Beer Festival to be held on November 9th, 2024. On September 3rd, 2024, the council tabled an item to the September 17th council meeting. An email is attached from the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce addressing some concerns. The Holiday Sharing Fund is a nonprofit organization that raises money through charitable events to provide bicycles, helmets, and locks to economically disadvantaged children living in Oldsmar. The organization proposed to host the 3rd annual Craft Beer Festival on November 9th to take place on the grass lot on the east side of the City Hall building. It's anticipated to draw close to 900 people over the course of the day. The item requests a waiver of fees in the amount of $1,010. Consistent with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, the Holiday Sharing Fund requests that the city waive the fees associated with this event. All other external costs will be the event organizer's responsibilities outlined in the application. The Holiday Sharing Fund will recognize the city as a sponsor at the appropriate level and may use the city logo to recognize such sponsorship. Copy of the application is attached for review. Staff recommends approval.
I need a motion to approve the Holiday Sharing Fund Craft Beer Festival on November 9th.
So moved?
I have a second. Councilmember Knapp, do you have any comments?
I do.
Okay, you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Just again, thank you to the Chamber, or the Holiday Sharing Fund in this instance as the entity, for providing that information about the donation specifics, just to read it out so the folks watching at home. The event generated last year $1,000, or it was a $1,000 donation or contribution to the Holiday Sharing Fund, and this year they anticipate that any profits made from the event will go to the Holiday Sharing Fund and guaranteed no less than a $1,000 donation. While I can appreciate that that is the case as far as the funds that go towards this event, or as it comes from the event towards the Holiday Sharing Fund, I still struggle to agree with the content of this application, that it accurately reflects the nature of the event, who's hosting it, who's collecting the ticket sales of it. I really struggle with that, how it's presented as far as the application goes, being reflective of the nature of the event. As I stated previously, we know that it's, as presented in this application, differs from what you may see out in the real world, with the event basically being advertised through Tampa Bay Brewing Company, the ticket sales being routed through that website. It shows on there now that it does benefit the Holiday Sharing Fund and that it is sponsored by the Chamber. But again, I just struggle with basically what I see out in the real world relative to this application, that it just doesn't jive with me. I think it probably raises awareness that we need to consider how we do evaluate these applications in the future. Kind of maybe establishing a better process of what does and doesn't qualify for these types of fee waiver requests. But yeah, I mean, that's where I stand on this. I mean, I wholly support the progress or the intentions of the Holiday Sharing Fund, as well as Kids Pedal Power, Tampa Bay Brewing, all those entities. I have no issues with any of them. I just take issue with the way that this application is presented and being in consideration before us.
Councilmember Knapp, would you like the Chamber to speak? Would you like to answer answering your questions?
Honestly, I don't really have any questions. It's just how I perceive things. I mean, I'm fine if they have any comments or counter to that. It's just, that's my observations.
Okay.
How I feel.
Sorry, you can go first if you want.
Let's go with Councilmember Tadzinski.
Tartazeski.
So close.
No end towards the last part of it.
It's not Insky, it's Esky.
I just was going to say that I do have just a quick question, a clarification in regard to the $1,000 that would be donated. Is that staying in Oldsmar? Or any of the profits that are coming into the charity, is that money being distributed to kids in Oldsmar through those bikes? I know when it hit a budget item, we were talking about charities, that those funds were staying in Oldsmar, so I just want to clarify with this as well, that would be.
Jerry Pruzzi with the Chamber. Holiday Sharing Fund is where it's going, and that's the organization with the city, the sheriffs, and the fire department locally, where we give bikes to needy families and children at Christmas. So that was where the money's going.
In Oldsmar.
In Oldsmar.
In Oldsmar.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
the bikes
Correct.
that would be purchased with this specific money that comes from this event would go directly to.
Correct.
children
At
in
Christmas
Oldsmar.
time, if you come around City Hall, you'll see all the bikes lined up in there. So,
Thank you.
Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember. So I struggled with this a little bit too, Councilmember Knapp. And, you know, when Holiday Sharing Fund, Kids Pedal Power came to us, you know, to request money for, you know, from the city council budget of $3,000, I realized that an additional $1,000 would be a large portion of their budget. And I also similarly recognize that the application is for a craft beer festival, although I know the name of the festival is different based on what's on the Tampa Bay Brewing Company website. I do appreciate that there is a small logo on the website for the Holiday Sharing Fund, a medallion graphic, I guess I would call it, annotating that it is going to there are some funds going to the Holiday Sharing Fund. I believe last year Tampa Bay Brewing Company did tell us they essentially break even on the event, but they do guarantee this donation. So something that is very important to me as well is transparency, right? So when we review these applications, we have been deceived in the past. You all might recall a certain special event permit that was approved for a car show for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that car show actually turned out to be a car stereo show. And there was a substantial amount of noise coming from the flea market area that I think could be heard probably in St. Pete. And we, and as well as the sheriff's office, had a number of calls. You know, did we permit the event? Yes, we permitted the event, but no, we did not permit, nor can we permit someone to violate city ordinances. And there was a whole bunch of drama associated with that. That was the first time that we had approved for that organization. This is not the first time that we have approved an event for this organization. So there is a little bit of trust there. I remember there was a swift decision made that we probably would not reapprove the loudest car contest. I can't recall what the name of it was, but y'all remember what I'm talking about. So I personally do believe that there should be a little more clarity in this application. I think, you know, call it what it is. We don't need to dress it up or dress it down. Call it what it is and be clear. I appreciate that there is a large donation going to the Holiday Sharing Fund, which I know stays local. I also appreciate that it is a big portion of their annual budget. But I think that we owe it to other organizations who apply for special event permits, as well as the public, to approve what we, you know, are reading in front of us, and so that they understand that what is out there is what we in fact approved. So in the future, I would encourage the applicant here to be transparent. We can call it the actual name. I don't find the name of this festival to be in particularly good taste. That said, it is their First Amendment right to call it whatever they want. And I do appreciate that they are donating to a very valuable local organization. So I am in favor of approving this permit. I would just encourage some additional transparency, and I do appreciate that it appears the rest of the council is reviewing the application with a keen eye, so that we don't run into the loud, very loud, accidental sort of approval due to lack of transparency in the past. So that's where I'm at.
Vice Mayor, you have anything?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, so I just have a couple things. I am, last year, the event was packed. Unfortunately, I wasn't invited. I don't know why, but the hotels were packed. There were breweries from all over the state that came to this event. Yeah, 100, was it, I know it was, I thought it was 130, but I remember the event was a super hit, and it is for our city. It brings tourists all over the state to this event, which is great, number one. Currently at the TDC board, I'm trying to get the report for this 6% bed tax, so I can understand how much revenue we're bringing into the city of Oldsmar from your event. So I'm working on that. But I do want to say that it's a great event, plus I just, I really appreciate what Councilmember Knapp and Councilmember Gannon are saying, about this. I think that the application needs to be more clear exactly what you're doing, because this is a staple event for you guys as the chamber. It really is. So I agree with what both of them say on maybe next time, a little more detail with the Tampa Bay Brewing Company explaining more detail about them. But other than that, I don't have a problem approving this. Any other comments? No. Okay. All right, then I need a motion. I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
So we have one nay. Okay, thank you. Next item is our city clerk, Kristen Garcia. Do you have anything?
I have no items, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, then we're going to go on to council comments, and we're starting out with Councilmember Andrew Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have really one item to address briefly. As we all saw earlier, the reapportionment has been a hot topic at FordPelis lately. I kind of touched on it in our last meeting with council comments, but as I shared previously, the regional MPO discussion is still ongoing. We have a certain small group of representatives from our team of FordPelis that collaborates with the other representatives from the other two counties to keep hammering out those details. They've basically settled on the number and more or less the breakdown of what that representation looks like. The topic came up during the meeting about basically how, by going to a regional MPO, smaller cities potentially losing their voice or less having their voice lessened as it relates to a regional MPO. They're still open to a lot of suggestions and ideas as far as how that can be mitigated, so to say. One of the things is that the individual county bodies may still exist in some fashion, but maybe just not the exact same decision-making authorities that would happen at that level. That's one possible outcome. The other one that may be in play is some sort of committee-based approach to where there still are representatives that are then, instead of appointed to the overall body, may go to individual committees that then collectively can kind of meet and have a voice together to then take that one person from the committee who is actually on the overall body, be able to speak and vote on the behalf of all. And just kind of get a sense, you think about it now, as we've been functioning as the capacity of Safety Harbor, Tarpon, and Oldsmar, there's not been any collaboration or discussion about how we would like to vote together on any of the issues that have been presented to FordPelis. In the future, as this reapportionment takes place, now it's just us and Safety Harbor. So there may be some opportunity for those, whoever is in, so upcoming now is the Mayor Abe, is, how can we make sure that we are in alignment where we need to be in alignment on?
Not like defeating each other's votes.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it will be interesting how it plays out. Unfortunately, obviously, I or nobody else from this council will have a whole lot of involvement of that come January. But it is something that definitely still will impact us, and hopefully, even though I won't be the appointee anymore, I kind of intend to stay apprised of what's going on at that level when Mayor Joe takes over, just to kind of see what's going on and again, just see how it's going to impact us, because there's just still a lot of unanswered questions of what this regional thing looks like. There are plenty of examples out there. You've got Orlando, Atlanta, plenty of multi-county, not just tri-county, but multi-county MPOs out there. So Executive Director Blanton and his team definitely have a lot of examples to pull from and ultimately try to tie this all together as it relates to county and regional transportation issues. The other thing to point out from last week's meeting is I volunteered as to participate in the nominating committee for the upcoming term, or the new terms that will take place for leadership for FordPelis. So that'll be kind of my swan song for participating on that board. So really looking forward to meeting with a couple of other volunteers for that to set in place, or at least nominate the leadership that'll take seat in January. So with that, that's all I have for now, Mayor.
Do you want to mention what's going on Friday? You set it up. Right here.
I'm drawing a blank.
You forgot. The MPO is coming here.
I didn't set that up.
At the meeting, they said you set it
They
up.
gave me props for it, but I didn't schedule it.
Oh, they said in the meeting that you
Yes.
set it up.
But yeah, they will be having a satellite meeting here of their TMA body, which is kind of that group that is leading the discussions for the regional MPO and considerations for that. That'll be taking place in here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Does that
uh-huh.
sound right?
Yeah,
Because
that's what they said.
they said Oldsmar, and then they kind of said City Hall, and I was like, well, I don't know if there's a meeting room big enough for for that City Hall. That'll be taking place, I want to say is it 9 a.m.?
Yes, here, Friday.
9 a.m. Friday. So, yeah, so you will have people from all three counties, all those that are going to basically have the sway of how this regional MPO potentially shakes out. So, yeah, sure, I'll take credit, but I did not schedule that meeting.
Well, I want
in
to
all
apologize
honesty.
because they made it sound like you're the one that set it all up.
They thanked me, but I was like, yeah,
Okay.
sure, yeah. Welcome to Oldsmar.
All right, well, thank you for that.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right,
Thank you.
Councilmember Valerie Tadezewski.
You got it.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Just a couple things. Vice Mayor, I did go back and re-listen to the things that you had to say last week. At this time, I don't have anything further to add. I think that I covered it for the most part last week, but I did want you to know because I told you that I would go back and double check just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I had the opportunity to attend the folk art exhibit over in City Hall, the reception for that a couple weeks ago, and it was fantastic. I was unsure if folk art was my vibe, and it is. It is my vibe. I really enjoyed it, and so thank you to the city staff who worked on that, but also Shamsi, who helped host the event. And I was very excited that when they made the speech at the beginning, they talked about that it was not completely, but mostly female artists, and that was intentional for a reason, so it had some strong girl power vibes, so I really enjoyed that. So if you get a chance to stop by City Hall, that's a good one to see. I did want to just say a quick comment. I know Mayor Beaverland is no longer here, but I did want to let him know that I hear you when you're coming to meetings. A lot of the questions you're asking, I'm asking the same questions. I'm just asking them before the meeting. So I am trying to figure out the best way. It's only my third meeting, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to make sure people know that I am asking critical thinking questions on some of the things that we're approving. It's just happening ahead of time. I don't want to hold up the whole meeting by asking all of my questions in real time. So, but I did want to let him know that I'm hearing your questions. I can't respond right away, but I am asking a lot of the same ones just to make sure that the things we're approving, I'm looking very carefully at our agendas and things that were coming up because I'm learning all this stuff new too. So just wanted to mention that. I also wanted to quick mention, I heard you all addressing the mayor two weeks ago in regard to the downtown development. And I just wanted to say that I had the same question when he gave high rankings to the development. So I was not on council at the time, so I could speak to him about it. And so I had the same question, which was, I probably wouldn't have given the same rankings. I probably would have actually leaned more towards Councilmember Gannon's, so giving some lower scores. But when I did address it with the mayor, he did give me an answer right away. And I thought it was well thought out, and I'll let him speak for himself. But he did have a reason that he did that, and I accepted it. And so I just wanted you all to know that I had the same questions. I didn't, verbalize all that at the previous meeting, but I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Katie Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of things, but Councilmember Tadasewski just brought up something that I had wanted to kind of talk about, just because it feels like there's an uncertainty in the air about open forum. And I just wanted to, this is our time. Council comments is our time to kind of roundtable these kinds of things. And to me, it's important at open forum that anybody and everybody who wants to address the council has the opportunity to stand up and do so. To me, it can become inappropriate to answer questions on the spot, and here's why. And I know this is hard to understand, but some of the questions can become very detailed. Some of the questions involve particular parcels of property, the rights of parties on certain parcels of property, the city's responsibilities as to a specific parcel of property, a specific code enforcement case. It might have to do with a particular complaint. And it's unwise to me to put our city staff members on the spot to answer a question and give an accurate answer when they don't necessarily have all the documentation in front of them and they don't have all of the facts potentially. And I don't want a resident asking a question and then leaving with what they think is the answer, and then that might not be the answer based on additional research. So to me, it is important that we use either the comment card system or just an open invitation to, hey, can you call me? And you can pass your number up to the clerk. So I think that is important, because I do want to make sure that our residents get accurate answers. That is the number one thing. If they have a concern, I want them to get accurate information. Sometimes they might not be wording the question in the vernacular of, planning and redevelopment or whatever the situation might be. But I do think it's important to give our staff the opportunity to research the question, research what code, whatever might apply to it, and then provide the resident the answer in a timely manner, of course. And I hope that is happening. I have no indication that is not happening. But to gather that information. And so that's why I do prefer a simple address the council format. The other reason I appreciate that format is because our procedures state that open forum will conclude at 7:30. And we can vote to extend that, and we have in the past for various different meetings. But to me, if, let's say, someone here has and we're limited by the 5 minutes, of course, but if someone engages in an extensive Q&A session, that might deprive a different resident the opportunity to, well, if we're giving Q&A, we got to give Q&A to everybody, or it could deprive that resident the opportunity to have their issue addressed before 7:30, and then do we extend? And so that's my understanding of our open forum process. If anybody has any different thoughts or ideas, I'd love to hear them, but as it currently stands, I do think for the sake of the quality, clarity, and providing accurate answers with all of the information, I do think it's important that we have it the way that it is. So, but I'd be open to entertaining anybody else's thoughts on changing it or adding some portion to it. I'm open to it, but that's my understanding of the goal of open forum. Whew, okay. A couple of other things. I attended the Suncoast League of Cities virtual meeting on August 30th. It was a quick meeting, a virtual meeting. We discussed the financial statements. There was some short legislative updates. There's not a lot going on right now because everybody's heavily campaigning right now. And then nominating committee recommendations for new officers, some of which I know Mayor Siraki has worked with for a long time. So that will all come to fruition soon at the final meeting, and we will know who our next leaders are on the Suncoast League of Cities. I wanted to also bring up that they are having a Candidate Ideas Summit, and at first I was like, Candidate Ideas? Candidate for SLC or who are? So actually, what it is a sort of speed dating candidates that are on the November ballot. Okay, and this isn't limited to any delegate, like anybody can go. So it's on
Monday.
Yes, I didn't know. I didn't write down the date, but it's on Monday, whatever September date that is, at 5:30 PM at the City of Pinellas Park Operations Center training room. And so there's going to be, tables of attendees, and then the candidates will sort of speed date and go around and talk about issues and ideas pertinent to our county, pertinent to our area and our county. But this doesn't include school board or judicial candidates, so that's an important thing to reference. But I just want to make sure that everybody knew about it. It's, anybody's welcome to attend. And then coming up on October 2nd, we have the School Transportation Safety Committee meeting for Forward Pinellas. And there's a couple really important things back on the agenda. Some things that aren't particularly pertaining to Oldsmar. There is an item on rectangular flashing beacons at particularly hazardous bus stops or crosswalks, adding the cost efficiency and the ability of the county to add solar-powered lamps. So there's this big debate, right? Because the school start times are supposed to eventually be moved to daylight hours. So should we spend the money to put these, solar lamps at different bus stops when we're supposed to be moving toward having school during daylight hours? That's all schools. Something that is important, also the Safe Streets for All, the planning grant, school time changes is also going to be discussed. But I wanted to make sure that you all know there are 41 bus stops. There's a lot of bus stops in the county, but there were 41 bus stops identified in the county as particularly dangerous. They were identified as particularly dangerous based on the number of students. It has to be more than 10 according to this study criteria that we did. It was also included the number of lanes on the road where the school bus stop was located, the number of crashes that had occurred on that particular road, and then additionally, when the bus is picking up, dropping off, and such. So 41 bus stops particularly dangerous. Then there was a top 8 list of those, okay? And again, it was scored using that criteria and other data that was collected by Forward Pinellas. The bus stop at Tampa Road and Bay Arbor is number 8 on that list. Wow. So, when you look at the map of Pinellas County, and I'll bring it after the meeting because I want to make sure the data hasn't changed. This was according to the June data. But anyway, when you look at the map of Pinellas County, you would think, oh, the most dangerous ones, surely it's, US 19, the busy roads down in South Pinellas, where there's more students. But there are actually 15 riders at the Bay Arbor stop. I want to make sure that that's current as of this school year and not last school year. And Tampa Road and Bay Arbor is right over near Lockheed Martin, kind of, so y'all know where I'm talking about. But I actually was surprised that out of the hundreds of bus stops in the county, we had a stop on the top 41, but then also 8th in the top 8. So I'm looking forward to learning about the methods by which we're going to try to ameliorate these issues. Because we all know that, certain things haven't worked in the past. We've empowered bus drivers to try to write down plate numbers, of people who blow by the bus. They're doing so much at the same time, it's impossible. We've tried to step up enforcement. So, I'm not sure what the solution is, and it's really hard to relocate bus stops year to year because, let's say you've got a student who's at a particular bus stop for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, then they move on. Then they're not there anymore. They're at a different bus stop. So things are always changing, and it's always a struggle for the county to coordinate bus stops and bus stop locations, but that is something that I wanted everybody to realize, especially those folks who live over in Bay Arbor, that is a dangerous bus stop, one of the top 8 in the county. So that was a lot of stuff, but I'll let you know how the meeting goes. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, do you know the age range for that bus stop? Is that like elementary kids?
I
or is it-
believe that is a middle school stop.
Okay, all right, thanks.
I can verify, though. I want to make sure as of 2024, 2025 school year, because that
I
data.
don't think the Bay Arbor Elementary School kids get bused. I think they drive. So it'd be the older age.
Yeah,
bracket.
so it would have to be for Carwise Middle School or Eastlake High School, but I want to make sure that it's the data for this school year as opposed to the prior school year. Same thing with the ridership, but the bus stop is still listed on the dangerous, hazardous, particularly hazardous. So, in any event.
Thank you for that update. Vice Mayor Steve Graber.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Gander, for the tremendous lead-in about school bus safety and how it's the most dangerous intersection, and it was wonderful. It's a joke. I'm just laughing.
I'm sorry if I talked a long time.
No, just tease it. I will be out of town tomorrow and Thursday. My wife is very excited. She's here. She's looking forward to when I get to leave. But I have to go to a Florida League of Cities meeting in Naples. So I get to stay in Naples. We get to have, we got dinner tomorrow night, and then we got meetings on Thursday. The Florida Municipal Investment Trust. So looking
Good
forward
thing we approved that tonight, then.
to that. Well, that was in the insurance trust, which I'm not a part of.
Are you going to get on that soon?
But, I mean, it depends, you know, the day is young, we'll see, you know. I'd always raise my hand when asked. And I know not all of us have gone yet, Mayor, I believe you have, but I got to attend Citizens Academy Administrative Services. Cindy Neno reprimanded me because I was talking about how fun the firefighters' night is and how much fun the police officers' night is, and she walked up and she stared right at me and said, "We're fun too," which I believe you are. And it was a lot of fun. And the staff did an absolutely excellent job. They put a lot of work into it. So I encourage everyone, if you haven't been to Citizens Academy, I know we all have. I know there's some folks in the audience, including my wife, including, I know Sean Swager's here tonight too. He's been in Citizens Academy as well. It really is just an excellent
McKinley
program.
did
Oh,
it too.
David
Yeah.
McKinley did it too, forgive me. I was gonna ask for a show of hands, okay, yes. It's called rambling. I'm not rambling. But I did.
Grabber.
Grabber? It's just like, I feel like a punching bag. You know, I'm the youngest of 5. I've been dealing with my whole life. I can take it. Anyway, so I wanted to say, IT, Adam gave a presentation, and it was hilarious, and it was all based on Star Trek. So I wanted to ask Councilmember Knapp a quick question, if you have a second, sir.
I have plenty of seconds.
How did the hacker get away from the IT guy?
Hacker get away from the IT guy.
Clock is running.
Got me.
He ran somewhere.
Ta-da.
Fine, I will not take credit.
Feels
That's
like
all
a
I
good
had, Mayor.
knock-knock
Thank you
joke.
all very much.
He got you, man. He got you, Andrew.
I'm gonna get reamed tomorrow from my
Oh, yeah.
VP of IT at work.
Or you can tell him the joke.
He won't laugh.
Yeah. They don't usually. Adam's great, though. Adam was fantastic. It was a lot of fun, and it was hilarious, but that's all I had. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, so I have a couple things. First, before I get started, I just want to tell you all that I appreciate all your comments at the last meeting, and I have a bunch of stuff I'd like to share with you. But I want you to understand one thing. I respect all of you 100%. I believe we are a team, and we're going to get through this together. First thing I want to say is on Thursday, the 5th, I welcomed the Citizens Academy class that the Vice Mayor just went. I went over to, and then after by the way, the Citizens Academy, I have to agree, it was amazing. It was the first time the students I actually welcomed them, the residents. And Kristen Garcia and your team, you do a great job. We had Cuban breezes, the food was fantastic, of course, but I just want to thank everybody that was involved in that. But the Citizens Academy is, it's a great class. I wore my shirt from 2011, so I'm getting kind of old, so they got a kick out of that, though. But then I ran over to the library to the FordPelis Safe Street project to learn more about the new safety ideas for the St. Pete Street. And I got to tell you, FordPelis did an amazing job. They went through all the ideas. They had boards set up with all the ideas of the different options for each part of St. Pete Drive. I thought they did a great job. There was about 15 residents there when I got there. They were busy doing their little sticky notes and putting on which one they wanted. There was, an example was stoplights, a stoplight, actually a traffic light, and they were all against that. And then it was a 4-way stop sign. They talked about maybe just doing 2 stop signs. So it was a really, actually a really great event by FordPelis. And then I wanted to bring up what Councilmember Gannon, I attended the Saturday 7th, the Suncoast League of Cities 2025 planning meeting. Whit Blanton from FordPelis, that's where I learned about Andrew's thing this Friday on the 20th for FordPelis with the MPO, Pinellas County, Pasco County, and Hillsborough County. And I didn't realize that you didn't do that, but I thought you did. Then on the, I wanted to just mention, I attended he was supposed to be here tonight, Craig Gross golf tournament for his son Frankie. That was a great golf tournament last week, Saturday, after the Suncoast League of Cities planning meeting. I ran over to there, and I must say that his son, the service member, told the story of what happened that day. There was not a dry eye in the entire building. He talked about how he gave Frankie a granola bar because he was hungry. They were at this base for days. They couldn't leave. And Frankie hopped in the car ahead of him and was eating the granola bar. And when he got there, the wrapper was on the floor. It was just a very, very touching story. And I was hoping Frank would have been here. It was a sold-out event. It was a great golf tournament for his son. I'm glad I went to that. And I want to thank David McKinley and the VFW for allowing me to stay at your tent and get some members for the VFW and talk about my story of how I became a member. So thank you for that. I want to thank the chief for the 9/11 fire department moment of silence. That was a great event for putting that on. You and your team, thank you so much. I also attended the Friday the 13th golf tournament for the Chamber of Commerce. I was allowed to drive the golf cart and give out water. I was there with my wife Paula for the Education Foundation, and I appreciate Jason for allowing us to drive the golf cart and meet with all the golfers. It was a great morning event. Thank you for that. What's that?
There was just minor damage.
I know. I only got stuck in the mud once.
Oh, no.
I had Paula push me out. Kidding. So I want to talk about the last meeting. I want to start out with talking about the ranking process, where I came up with how I ranked the both developers. So I don't know if anybody here ever attended Toastmasters. So when I first ran for city council in 2014, I lost the election because during the open forum, I was a total disaster. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but I do. So I joined the Oldsmar Toastmasters Club. And in Toastmasters, they taught us evaluations. They taught us evaluations of an individual. They taught us evaluations of a group, which could be two. And they also taught us evaluations of a team, which could be more than two. They taught us how to do evaluations. So during evaluations, the main thing we learned about was education, experience, performance, teamworks, and projects completed. So we evaluated people on those items. So during my evaluation of each developer, I evaluated them as a team and a group. And each time they spoke, whoever it was, I evaluated that individual, but I also evaluated them as a team or a group. So that's why my score was so high, because during Toastmasters, I learned that being positive and giving positive feedback is better than giving negative feedback. Plus, I'm more of a positive individual, so that's why I give more of a positive feedback than a negative impact. The only thing that I wanted to mention was Councilmember Gannon gave a couple of the American group ones. And after our 5.5-hour meeting, they came up to the dais and they said something to Councilmember Gannon, and she was really upset. I didn't want to give them a 1. I can't give anybody a 1 for their education or their experience. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand why I gave them a higher rating. That's number 1. The other thing I wanted to talk about is we never talked about the $2 million price tag for the property. We have, what, about $4 million into that property, and we're only getting $2 million for the 8 acres. We never talked about that either. I was a little concerned about that. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I want to stop making this platform as a conflict of us arguing or pointing at fingers at each other. We're not here to do that. We are a team. We are a team of one. We need to work together no matter what. Nobody up here is perfect, but we all have one thing in common. We are all voted in by the citizens of this city, and we all have a voice. Each one of us have our own voice. We should never judge each other on how we vote or what we do. I asked Felicia, our city manager, and Tom, our city attorney, if I could please call John Meyer from Stanberry. I don't know if any of you talked to him, but I called him the next day once they said I could talk to him. And I was upfront with him. I told him the reason why I voted no that day was because the residents of this city don't want 5 stories on that property. Now, it could be the flea market, I don't care, or it can be Jason's property, I don't care about 5 stories. But the people that I talk to in the city of Oldsmar do not want 5 stories on that property. Period. He was concerned a little bit about what happened in that meeting, a couple comments that Councilmember Gannon made, but he appreciated my honesty when I was on the phone with him. He appreciated me saying no. Now, there's no way that I want Stanberry to give up yet, because I have a compromise. I have a compromise for the council members that I want to share, so that we can move forward and get this thing moving, so that we can finally build the city of Oldsmar's downtown that we've all been talking about for, everyone says, 20 years. Okay? So I want to go outside, I want to walk in the middle of the street, and I want to pretend that City Hall's gone. The City Hall's gone. And you want to look to the left, and what do you see? You see a vacant lot right now. I don't want to see 5-story buildings. I don't think anybody wants to see 5-story buildings. I don't know who you're talking to, but the people I talk to do not want 5-story buildings. So if you look down the street, you look down State Street, what do you see? You see 2 stories, you go to the end, you see 3 stories, and you see 4 stories. But the 4 stories are only on the corner of St. Pete Drive and State Street. My compromise is that we work together with the developer to build a 3-story with a 4-story on the corner of Washington. You wanted my ideas? I'm sharing it with you. 4 stories on the corner of Washington, maybe go all the way to Tampa Road, but 5 stories is just not going to look right for our city and for the appearance. I prefer to keep the interests of the citizens of Oldsmar in mind and continue to work to come up with reasonable compromise solutions that would be fair to all the citizens and us. Let's move forward to the development of our beautiful downtown area that we can be all proud of and will enhance our city while also helping to preserve our charm and our unique community. This passed 3-2. It's passed. The city manager is already working with Stanberry to move forward, but I'm just telling you, for my compromise, this is where I'm at. I think we can build a downtown. I think the developer can come up with a plan to do that. I understand they have to go to a certain amount of units to make profit. I understand that. If we need to, let's have a workshop. Let's do a workshop so that we can discuss it with Stanberry, with the city manager, and Tom. Let's have a workshop. Let's bring it all out. Because this platform is not the platform for pointing fingers. Thank you for the willingness to work with us to obtain a solution that makes sense for our city. I think we should move forward with Stanberry. I want to thank them for for John for listening to me. I told him my ideas. I told him exactly what I just shared with the council. I told him. Now it's time for all of us to come together as a team so we can move this exciting forward progress ahead. Move it forward. I hope I answered your questions. I don't want to really do any other comments. I am done talking about this. I want to thank you, though, for your feedback. I appreciate each one of you. And last thing I have is, yes, Vice Mayor Graber. I am running for mayor with Jerry Beaverland and Katie Gannon.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I will, yep, I'll be running, and it should be interesting, and I don't want to make it political, especially bringing this downtown. I don't want to get involved with that, but anyways, all right, with that, I need a motion to approve the tentative agenda.
I just,
Hey,
Mayor,
Katie, I don't want to talk about it. I've answered all my questions. Please.
I think that as a member of this council, I have the right to bring something up in council comments.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
would ask our city attorney for guidance, but I think several of the comments that you made were directed to me, which is fair. And I just want to talk more. I'm not here to start drama. I need to understand. You mentioned about rating the team. I totally get that. Thank you for that. The green section at the bottom. I was a little bit more interested in your ratings in the top section. So for example, we had a resident come in tonight and he said, you know, they got a D and they got an F, you know, referring to the 5.9 out of 10 and I think a 6.1 out of 10 for one. And I transposed those scores directly to my scores. But that open house, that's where you gave a 10 out of 10 on the community feedback and the open house. So that's where the source of my confusion was on some of, not the team rankings, but more of the site plan things. And I like the idea of a compromise. It was never my understanding that, that we could not bring forth compromise. It was always my understanding that, and I wish to be corrected by our city manager, maybe not right now, and our city attorney if I'm incorrect, but it was always my understanding that engaging in negotiations with the developer was the time, which I voted in favor of, was the time to talk about the things we are willing and aren't willing to compromise on. And that was why I voted to move forward so that we didn't shut down any further negotiations. You are right. One of the gentlemen from OAG did come up to me after the ranking was completed, and he did make a comment, a derogatory comment toward me. I don't know if I was the closest person or if it was directed toward numbers that I did provide in my ranking. Some of my numbers were lower than others. It's just the way I did it. I had my rationale at the time. I think my one that he was talking about was as to the team, an important component that I liked of the Stanberry proposal was the fact that they brought a substantial retail experience. In the mix of the retail, they had a particular person on their team that, you know, detailed what retail mix would create a more survivable environment for State Street. And I really like that. The OAG team, they brought other types of experience. They brought a gentleman who had substantial experience in creating beautiful landscaping. But to me, landscaping wasn't a large component, and so that was part of the reasoning why I gave them a lower score. I also gave them a lower score, for example, in the orange portion, for the line item that said appeal to frontage of Tampa Road. And they actually directly told us that they didn't want to appeal to Tampa Road because they saw State Street as the better frontage to appeal toward, and so that's why they gave the volumetric design for the State Street. So when I was like, okay, 1 out of 10, did they pay attention to this Tampa Road? Well, no, and they conceded that, so I gave a lower score on that. Now, on the State Street frontage, I gave them a higher score because they did. It wasn't as high because it was a white volumetric building, as opposed to the more detailed design. So that was some of the criteria that went into what I scored. And, you know, whatever unhappiness came of that's fine.
I didn't hear what he said. He was talking to you. I just.
Yeah, and I'm just letting everybody know that I'm okay with their unhappiness, because perhaps that would not be a team that we would want to work with. Somebody who came in second rank could have been the next team we worked with, should a development agreement or anything fall through. But that's something for the council to evaluate at a later time, should it come to pass. I think the largest part of my disappointment was not necessarily the no vote. It was the misunderstanding and this sort of lack of consistency in the criteria, in what we asked for and what was given to us. We had an RFP that we all agreed on. We had an LOI way back 2 years ago that we all agreed on. And so when the scoring did not match this sudden change, I was looking for more of a rationale. I think that compromise is always part of what we do here up on council. And I'm glad to hear you say that. I think we all have the best interests of the community at heart. I would be open to a work session. My goal is understanding. I want to understand the rationale behind all of our votes. I don't think the right word is judge. I'm not trying to judge anybody for their vote, but I am trying to hold everyone accountable for their vote. And so, you know, when I ask Vice Mayor Graber, you know, a question about, you know, why he said yes or no, or tonight, why Councilmember Knapp voted no, I want to hear his reasoning so that I can hear, you know, his validation. I want to hold him accountable. Okay, well, I get that. And sometimes I agree with it. But it is not my goal to sow, you know, difficulties within this council. It is my goal, though, to hold everyone up here accountable, just as the voters hold us accountable. So with that being said, I do think it is time to continue to move forward and to continue to provide transparency to our citizens. I appreciate that you provided some feedback tonight, so thank you for that, Mayor.
Did you talk to John at all? Did you call him?
Yes, he did call,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I missed his call, and then we did end up connecting. He expressed concern over some of the things that I said as well, because I indicated that I, you know, am voting to move forward with negotiations, but, you know, depending on what happens in negotiations, I couldn't jump to a final conclusion, and that understandably would give a business pause. I
Thank
get
you.
that.
I appreciate you saying that, because
Yeah.
he said them to me, but I didn't want to talk about them. I wanted you to.
No, I think
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's entirely okay. Yeah, they were concerned. They said, you know, well, you know, you said you wanted this in the RFP.
Right.
We gave you what you asked for, but you still expressed concern. And my response is, well, there's still, you know, a lot of details to iron out. Our city manager and our city attorney have to negotiate these things and come back to us with something that is more than a picture that doesn't necessarily have all the details that we want to see and that we're accountable to viewing and evaluating. But yes, he did reach out to me, and I expressed the reasoning behind my ranking and some of the comments that I made as well.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes, absolutely.
I promise all positive, because, and I'll be brief.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Councilor Renee. I would love to hear from
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for providing some context. I really do appreciate it. So I wanted to say that first and foremost. I do welcome the idea of considering a work session to talk through what we do and don't agree on.
Right.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
We're tonight, we didn't agree on something, right? I would, and I'm not going to put them on the spot, but I would welcome the feedback and guidance from our city manager and city attorney, the pros and cons of having that open discussion and whether Stanberry should be present or not. I'd like to understand that more before committing to it. Obviously, we could throw it on the tentative agenda to discuss that. But I'm thankful that we've been able to kind of extend this discussion a little bit, because what I feared and what I hope wouldn't happen from this point forward is that council comments may devolve into shots fired, shots returned, that type of thing. I don't want it. I don't think anybody wants that. So I'm glad we are where we are right now and that we can move forward from that. So again, thank you.
very much.
And I'm done.
I appreciate that. Does anybody else have any comments?
No.
No, just to echo, I did vote no on this project. I understand that it's passed, and I'm ready to, heard you, we're a team. It's passed, let's look at what they present and the negotiations. I'm open to a workshop as well, but I agree with you. Let's make sure that we're fully considering that before we open it up to the public and include the developer as well, so.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for listening. All right, next item is 21, approve the tentative agenda for October 1st, 2024. Does anybody wish to pull or add anything to the agenda?
A few things, Mayor. A few things.
Okay,
If I
you
might.
go first.
Okay, in light of the discussion, the first one would be consider workshop for downtown development discussion.
Thank you.
Obviously, that can be pulled based on whatever guidance that city manager or city attorney provide us for that. The next one, in light of discussion that took place earlier tonight, I'd like to put on scheduled work session to review special event application fee waiver request process.
I like that.
And one more, if you'll indulge me. Councilmember Gannon made some, in her council comments, triggered something else that I recall from the FordPelis meeting. As you all may know, speed detection systems are allowable in school zones to help with safety and enforcement for those that are not compliant with the speed limit during the school zone. So I would like to throw on there as an item, discussed interest in speed detection systems in school zones. For
Like
our
it.
consideration.
Anybody else want to add anything else? All right, then, Councilmember Knapp, do you want to make a motion as amended?
I would love to make that motion. I will.
All right, and then I'm looking for a second.
Second.
I have a motion as amended with adding 1 workshop, 2, the application process, and 3, the school zone. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. I think we're moving forward, council. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.